The Fortress does its best to look after Flux medically. By now, Flux, you have a vicious headache, but you're able to form memories again. You have virtually no recollection as to how you got aboard the Fortress, but the medical staff explains you were hit in the head again and probably need to get a more serious look and follow up with Dr. Major when you get to the mainland.
Again? Where was Kimon this time? He must have been like 20 feet away from me. Speaking of Kimon, I think it's time to call him up to the bridge for a debriefing. Get on the PA system and announce, Kimon and Lightshow, please report to the bridge. If you don't know the way, ask someone to escort you promptly. That's all, thank you.
Does he think I wouldn't know the way around a second-rate mockery of my own secret base?
Lightshow shrugs and says, well, I don't know the way, so you'll have to lead me. So you lead Lightshow up to the bridge. Along the way, there's only more evidence of the fortress being designed with all the clinical care of a corporate overlord. It's not that the Demon's Legion lacked discipline per se, so much as it didn't always have the precision machining available and couldn't always build with the best materials. So at times, things that were in the original blueprints got sacrificed for cheaper and dirty alternatives. You had to build in secret from the authorities, and this was built by the authorities. But you find your way to the bridge, and their freeze frame is waiting.
Welcome to the bridge, Kimon. I suppose you're not used to being the one who gets called to it instead of the other way around.
On the contrary, the captain is called to the bridge to deal with emergencies and other issues all the time.
Well, regardless, let's go over what we accomplished in the mission. Captain Gwei got away on a technicality. That's not our fault, there's nothing we could have done. It seems like Elvis has been hit again, though. Kimon, would you care to explain how that went down?
Yes, instead of approaching Howard as though he were a dangerous criminal, he tried to approach Howard as though he were a teammate in need. Howard responded to this in the same way a sick gorilla might respond to being approached by a concerned zookeeper. With violence.
Well, surely a gorilla wouldn't always attack the zookeeper.
I don't see how that's relevant, but also apparently a zoo normally has better safety training than we do. So that's something to think about.
How does a zoo
Because the zoo assumes that maybe a gorilla will attack if they get too close, regardless of how they feel about it.
Okay, well, we also lost Mercury, so tell me what happened there.
Well, gee, he turned into liquid metal, Lowry. We forgot to charge the batteries on our AI-powered capture ball, so I guess chalk that one up to poor training too.
What capture balls?
The ones you showed off on TV that don't exist.
Lightshow steps up and says, it's lucky we did pretend to have those, though, and made it easy to trick Mercury into thinking that we had them.
Okay, well, the Unstoppable Fortress has just made its public debut, and I'm going to get in touch now with Macintosh on Luna Island to let him know I've got Howard inbound. When we get back to the coast of the city, obviously we'll attract a lot of notice, likely even some police helicopters, so we'll want to disembark and make it into a clear fanfare right away. Kimon, the fortress is based on the design of your original Demon's Fortress. If the press asks you something about it, have you thought about what you might say?
I've been having slightly different ruminations.
Such as
when I die and go to hell. They'll put me in front of all the original Fortress's crew and make me recite whatever speech and comments you're planning to have me make about this thing. They'll make me do it over and over again, so I have to take in each and every face.
You're so unbelievably dramatic, you know that? Look, a military ship sinks, and that does not make it the same as every other ship in the ocean of that same class. All you have to do is talk up the design of the thing and its capabilities instead of acting like some aggrieved theater student. Can you be relied on to give some technical testimony about the vessel?
That depends. What assurances do I have that I don't still have to sign up for your special program?
Oh, that. Look, okay. We discussed that we'd wait and see what kind of results you could get with all this. I'd say it's fair that you prove Mercury was wrapped up in all this stuff with Gwei, so your sources were good. That said, I don't really need to keep you on board in your present situation just to get a few words to the press. What matters now is, do you have another important lead on Mercury or his operations?
We just leapt up out of the ocean and watched everything scatter like a startled flock of seagulls. And you're wondering what my next lead is?
Yes, because that's your job. And that alone is why you're given even an ounce of tolerance.
Well, I may have a few more leads on more of Mercury's operations, but I'll have to do more field work.
Care to share any of these insights with the class?
There might be a warehouse he's working out of, or a few more people he knows. I don't know. I'll need to put my nose to the ground and sniff around. This was the most immediate thing, and it was a strong lead.
Okay, as soon as you've got anything, set up a meeting and talk us through the plan. Otherwise, you're to work independently and avoid the rest of the team.
Is the fortress supposed to be our new base of operations?
That's the plan going forward.
Well, how do I get to and from it?
We'll have a ferry going to and from the vessel. It'll be scheduled once for the start of shift and again for end of shift. But if we need to make accommodations, I don't see any reason why we can't have a private charter come pick you up.
So if I need to go in to cross-reference something, our systems are hooked up here now, in the fortress.
In your case, you can go ahead with remote work. If you need to log into our central servers, you can do it from home. You shouldn't need to be aboard the Fortress that often.
Well, then why not have most of the office except essential personnel work from home like they've been doing?
It's my call. We're going to ferry everyone in. Anyway, I think that's everything until you've got your new lead sorted out.
Fine.
While we're aboard this vessel, that's yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Dismissed.
On your way back to your room, Lightshow says, "You're taking this all pretty calmly."
If words could sink this thing, I'd have a lot more to say. Lightshow, you said you'd leave this company if things didn't get any better. Are you leaving?
I also said that Unstoppable Industries is a monopoly, and if I want to keep doing the super work, this company is the only option.
There has to be other work you'd be happy doing. I strongly recommend that you leave.
I'm not saying that you're wrong, but why, in your opinion, should I do that?
Because if this keeps up, this company will result in you being killed.
I think you're forgetting I'm nearly indestructible.
You know what I mean. And you never know when you'll get caught by some stray bit of shrapnel or something.
Look, when I told you that things needed to change or I wouldn't stay on, I was talking to you. I get that Flux has a lot of problems, but I think it's clear that he's trying.
I found his phone still in his bag when I went to fish the radio out of it.
Well, I wish I could say that that was surprising, but I still think that he can be modulated by his surroundings a lot more than you can be. You put your feet down and spit into the wind. And if Flux keeping his phone were the worst thing I'd seen today, that's what I'd be most mad about. Instead, I'm most upset about you encouraging Howard to stomp on Flux's head. No matter what happens, or how angry you might have been with Flux, that is not okay.
Flux's phone habit is going to get someone near him killed. It is pretty severe.
And I will talk to Lowry about it. His phone can be taken away. It is a physical object. But encouraging a criminal to crush one of your teammates is something that came from inside you, Kimon. That is not something that we can take away before a mission. And that's also going to get people killed. We rely on each other during a mission. We don't have to like each other. We just have to be willing to die to protect each other. Okay? That's the one thing that we have to agree is true about one another. I have to trust that when I'm down, you're not going to be egging some goon to pop a bullet in my skull just because you and I are having a beef that day. When everyone is safe, yell all you want, but not when a team member's life is at risk.
I don't have much of a comeback for that.
It doesn't require a comeback. There's no witty joke you can make about it. Flux might be incompetent, but he would take a down teammate seriously. Do you understand that's how I'm finding myself in the position of defending him over you right now? You might be better at field work than he is, but if you were crumpled up in front of Howard, I can't imagine Flux egging Howard on to finish the job. Just as a simple pragmatic fact, we cannot trust that behavior. So you ask me if I'm leaving. Well, I don't know. Are you leaving? You'd be justified in leaving. You should leave. Your problems aside, the headquarters of this company is obviously not what it used to be, but if I'm going to move on, I need to take some serious looks around and to figure out what else I'm going to do. Regardless, I'm still in the professional mindset, and it feels like you're not. So if we're talking about early exits...
Lowry's got me in a bit of a trap right now.
What do you mean he's got you in a trap?
Well, apparently grabbing people and yelling at them isn't a real good idea for a guy who's got stipulations on his freedom. So Lowry has certain expectations about me being here.
Did you grab Lowry?
No. It was Michael.
Why would you grab Michael?
I don't want to get into it.
What could you have possibly gained?
The point is, I'm not going anywhere for a little bit. So if you're seriously considering leaving, I would recommend that you leave.
All right, that is it. I'm going to go talk to Lowry.
No, okay, look, I can take care of my own business. I don't need anyone to speak to Lowry on my behalf.
No, I get that you can speak for yourself. But I'm going to go stand up for me. And with that, Lightshow backpedals out with Terry close behind him. Lightshow enters the bridge unannounced and declares, "Lowry, we need to talk in private. Can I ask for your time?"
Oh, sure. If I'm needed, just page me to the bridge. Let's go talk in my personal quarters, Lightshow.
You go with Lightshow to the cabin's quarters, which is modest given that space is quite a premium aboard the Fortress, but still nicer than most rooms, and more importantly, it's solitary.
Okay, what can I do for you?
First of all, I'd like to know, what is this I'm hearing about Kimon being blackmailed into some kind of contract?
You're going to have to tell me what you're talking about. There's an NDA involved with a lot of contract negotiations, so I'm not sure what ground we're standing on here.
Apparently you're holding threats of legal action over Kimon to keep him employed and active with the company. Is that correct?
Oh, okay. It's complicated, so hear me out. A little while ago, Kimon threatened Michael's life. Now Michael is afraid of Kimon because who wouldn't be, and he spoke to me about it. But Michael would rather downplay the whole situation so that it doesn't escalate any further. Besides, his own brother is the one who set Kimon up with the pardon that he currently has, so he didn't really want to press charges and blow that up. On the other hand, that's not okay, so I called Kimon into my office and we talked about what kind of remedial steps that we need to be taking. We agreed that Kimon is going to continue employment, but that any future transgression is going to have some pretty serious consequences. I tried to be even-handed, and I hope that that sounds reasonable.
Then why does he think he's trapped in the company somehow?
Well, he signed a contract acknowledging that his cooperation with us does include these terms of duress. It's kind of like a plea deal in a lot of ways, so I suppose that he interprets that as being trapped.
Okay.
Do you feel like I've made the wrong call? He's a volatile personality, and I'm doing my best.
I don't know what I would have done. But don't you feel like that's a little dangerous? I mean, you're keeping him on to work with the team, but he's also got a gun pointed to his head. We're talking about someone who was formerly one of the city's most premier supervillains, feeling like he's been backed into a corner. And the whole reason he turned to supercrime to start was because he felt disgruntled and trapped. It sounds like a recipe to get him to lapse into worse outcomes.
Well, obviously he's a huge problem personality. This is why normally you don't hire criminals to be cops, because no duh. And if it had been up to me, we wouldn't have come to this point in the first place. But if you think about it, keeping him on board with the company is probably the better move, because we're well equipped to deal with him if he gets out of control. If I were to turn him loose on the streets, we could lose track of him pretty easily. Then the other alternative is prison, but if it gets to that, he's serving for all of his crimes, and he's going to die in jail. Of all people, he might be someone it's a lot safer to keep in Luna Island, but, again, Michael didn't want to second-guess his late brother. However, what do you think? If you believe that maybe we should go ahead and report Kimon's violent behavior, then we could talk to Michael, and maybe that is the better course?
I don't know if I want to be the guy calling that shot.
That's also what Michael said.
Well, I can tell you something, and this brings me to my next point, is that field work has not always been easy, and it's probably rubbing Kimon the wrong way. It's definitely upsetting me. I've got a real problem with Flux constantly bringing his phone into missions or on patrol. He calls his mom all the time and isn't paying attention, which is annoying when we're supposed to be patrolling, but it's actually life-threatening during the kinds of infiltrations or assaults where we're trying to coordinate with Kimon. Like, you have to understand, anytime I'm on a job with Kimon, it's usually for something pretty serious. And it feels like Flux isn't respecting Kimon with regard to the chain of command, and his phone is going to kill us. It nearly did on Gwei's boat today.
Well, with Flux, we also have a certain element of fear and distrust in regards to Kimon.
That does not excuse. Kimon has seniority and usually has a better understanding of the field than us. He has super senses that let him know things that we can't even see. Flux doesn't have to like Kimon, but it is critical that Flux listens to him and coordinates with him at any time we have joint work. And the phone needs to go, all right? I can't have this anymore. This is supposed to be the peak of any superhero's career. I have tried talking to Kimon. I have tried talking to Flux. I have exhausted the communication options at my level, or else I would not be having this conversation with you.
Okay. Lightshow, you are one of our best superheroes. So if this is how you feel, I hear you. It's been really hectic with first losing Captain Momentum. That was a huge change in the social dynamic of the team and how we operate. Then we lost the office, but we're beginning to get our feet underneath us, and maybe it's time to take a serious look at some retraining in our operation practices. How about, going forward, we'll try to minimize joint operations with Kimon and place him in more of a reconnaissance role. I think Cog can function in place of Kimon for assault operations, and we could see how that goes.
I don't know that you have to sideline Kimon like that. I mean, he might be a better combat operative than I am. Also, these tensions might smooth over if we can establish more clear rules about command and when phones are permitted.
I understand, and that is valid, but training Flux is going to take some time. I'm not really sidelining Kimon, I'm just going to keep him focused on investigative work and recon. We'll have time to work out what we need to do with Flux in the meanwhile, and this is going to take time, so I'll appreciate your patience in the matter. And if you feel the need to speak up any further in the future, my door is always open, and I am more than happy to hear you out. I've been aware of a lot of these problems, but you're drawing them more acutely to my attention. Are we all right?
I suppose that's what I wanted to say.
Okay. Well, like I said, anytime you want to talk to me about anything, just let me know. I'm not just your boss, Lightshow. I'm your friend.
That's all I have for now.
Do you want to stay for a drink?
No, thanks. I don't think we have a lot to celebrate. I'm tired and it's late. I'm just going to go to my room.
All right, thank you again, Lightshow. You have a good night.
Paul, Lightshow makes it back to your room, and he lets himself in with a sense of frustrated resignation.
So how'd it go?
We talked about it.
And he made promises. You know, that ought to be his real superhero name, Captain Promises.
Well, he did make some good points, like about how hectic things have been.
Yes, but?
Well, there is no but. Sounds like you're going to be on investigation and recon. Then there'll be focus on Elvis's training, which I suppose is the right thing.
Right, and it definitely looks better to the stockholders than having your two most experienced superheroes leave the company. Lightshow, Lowry puts a carrot on his stick and he lets you walk him to the next destination. I'm telling you, if you value your life and your personal safety, I would quit this company.
With all due respect, Kimon, you have a lot of biases.
Would you describe me as having bad intuition?
I think that, honestly, you swing back and forth between very good and very bad intuition.
Well, in this case, I think that my intuition is very good when I say that Lowry's personal style isn't one that creates cohesion. That when he creates weakness in this company, he's inviting everyone in his operation to be attacked. We are not barely on the cusp of stability. Things are a hair's breadth from disaster.
Don't you think that you're kind of a large part of this, though? Like, your choices can change the impact of what happens to this team in the future. You of all people.
My choices are going to have a very large impact. I'm just saying it would be sidestepping a lot of stress and grief for you to look for a different posting.
Sure, I do that, but then someone who's less familiar with all this comes in, and it's their problem instead. Kimon, can't you just try to be on this team and make it work?
Sounds like I'll be separate from the group doing my own thing for a while, doesn't it?
Yes, but that doesn't mean that you can't take some responsibility and try.
Well, I'll try. But I'm just saying, maybe you don't have to be the guy. You don't have to have the best person be here. There's literally a whole life just over the hill if you go now.
Yeah, well, I can't keep running up and down hills. And I am my own person, so if you don't mind, let's try to get a few hours of sleep before we arrive in port and have to explain ourselves to the public.
Hello, I hope everybody's been enjoying Unstoppable Momentum. This is just to let you know that I depend on support through Patreon and really appreciate any help that you can give. You can find me under Don Somewhere. In the rare event that I get done with an episode early, I will post it there. I also have a website called donsomewhere.com where you can find links to other things I've done over the years, like parody videos, articles, or even playlists for the podcast. Again, that's donsomewhere.com. Thanks for listening. You have a fantastic time.